I'm Chris, and today we're going to talk about tools. Not any old tool, just hand tools. You want to use by hands for doing jobs. In the last video, I did things like tape measure and then other essentials and accessories. So you can go back and look at that. But today, I'm just focusing on mainly just hand tools. So with that, let's start with the first one. The first one is hammers. There's three over here, but there's so many hammers. I've got three small ones, little ones, but they you can get all sorts of sizes. But for a DIY, a handyman or whatever, these are ideal. Small. You can, I mean, if you're doing more construction work and so on, then you probably need bigger hammers like roofing hammers and bolsters and so on. So yeah, so hammers are an essential thing for a DIY starters. Next thing is screwdrivers. Here I got a bunch of different screwdrivers. This is called a Cyclops, and it's got a compartment with about I think 6 and 12 bits on there, and you also got a socket bit at the end, a 3/4 inch socket bit, so you can use sockets, and it's magnetic. It's got a 1/4 inch, so you can use your sockets. Your screwdriver bit goes at the end over here, and then you it's also ratcheting, and you've got this swivel head as well, so you push this down and you swivel this head, so it's ideal for tight spots and so on. It's a really nice screwdriver. That's Pliers, and yeah, so that's one. There's also this dumpy one over here, which is also got 6 bits in the storage, and it's ratcheting as well. There's so many. There's another ratcheting one, cheaper one. Then there's these wrenches, and another one. Yeah, so there's plenty of screwdrivers. But get yourself a nice screwdriver with multi-bits in it, and even if you get a ratcheting screwdriver and this for tight spaces and so on, you can use this for sockets and all sorts of things. So that's screwdrivers, and then I would go into pliers. I think pliers are the next thing you would need. So here I got 2 pliers. One is a cutting plier, a diagonal cutting plier. That's a normal engineer's plier, called a linesman plier, I think. With this one, the engineer plier, it's got this nice little head at the front where it's got this thing you can bolt onto screws or bolts, which are stripped off, and unscrew them or tighten them or whatever. So these are that, and also got for crimping and so on. Ideal for sort of a lot of electricians or wiring stuff, or even for engineers. And these are cutters for wiring, cutting wires, cables, all sorts of things. Then you got these bolt cutters. This is a Kinepex. I've made this smaller. Normally comes a little bit bigger, but I cut them smaller so to fit in the EDCs and so on. And they're ideal. That's what you'd need. That's the third thing. Then you'd want, the next one you'd want is wrenches, and here's there's a Cobra wrench and there's a Stanley wrench. So if you want, these are brilliant. I mean, we've probably seen videos on these on YouTube. They sort of grab onto any shape, size, round, square, whatever. Once they grab on it, you can't. It doesn't let go. There's a video I've seen of someone actually standing on these and even showing how good they grip. So that's this is also Kinepex, and that's the wrench. This is the Cobras, and there's a wrench. So these are for like if you're not don't want to damage your taps and chrome stuff and all that, so you'd use this for those sort of nuts and bolts. And there's also this one, a cheap one, Stanley one. It's okay actually. It's a copy of the Cobra. It's got the same button and everything, and I've used it. It's quite good for what you pay for it. But yeah, so those are the next thing. Then I would say after that you would need a I would say a saw. So there's so many saws, but some sort of kind of hand. So these are Japanese pull saws. So I just want to show you this particular one. So you've got this blade. I've got 2 handles. There you can have either this handle And if you know about the Japanese pull saws, they sort of work on this, they call them pull, so they work on the backward stroke, and they are brilliant. You get so much control. I sort of made this mallet and all this. I used only thing I used power tool was a drill, but all of the rest I did it by hand. So I used the Japanese pull saw with it for the cuts and so on. And yeah, so you need a saw. Like there's two handles. It comes with it. I've got this set which comes with it came with two. This is what you call a sort of a blade with smaller teeth for finishing, and then you got two handles. So that's the Japanese pull saw. You also got this other saw I got. I'll show you this. You get your reciprocating blades, or even the blades for your jigsaw. They actually go in here. So you'd put this in there, the blade, and you can do a cut. That's a metal, and you also got it for wood and so on. And this is respect. They also I've used. You can also put jigsaw blades in here. So they're brilliant little thing. This handle. You also got those other ones which fall down and so on. But I find this quite good. So there's the saw. That's the next thing. Then you would go with a set of chisels for chiseling bits and doing mortises and locks and so on. They're brilliant for that. Squaring off things you've done on the router, especially the corners, because the router leaves a radius, and so you can square them off or whatever, So a set of chisels. Yeah, I've got a fairly cheap set. It's not expensive on Amazon. Comes with the honer and a wheel. A sharpening stone as well. That's a honing wheel. Yeah. So that's a set of chisels. Then I would say you'd need a utility knife of some sort. I've got two over here. A knife and a saw blade as well. You can get, so these are all handy for cutting carpets and trimming things and so on. There's another one which goes in my son's EDC, and it's quite a nice one actually. It's got all little things on it. The utility knife. So that's the other thing you'd need. Then I would say you'd need a plane of some sort. These are two small ones, but they do bigger ones and so on. But the small block planes, they're brilliant for small jobs. So if you, for example, if you got a piece of wood there and you just want to just chamfer that edge off, you just use that. So you can see I've chamfered that edge off. There's all the wood filings, and it's for small jobs. I did this mallet, like I said, a lot of the small tools I used on and made this. So that's hey, by the way, you'll need a mallet as well if you got a nice set of chisels. So that's the next thing you'd need. And then I would say you'd need some sort of scissors for jobs. These are engineers, made by engineers. They're electrician scissors. They cut through anything, literally. Wires, cables, ropes, you name it. They're brilliant there. But yeah, you'd find this in you'd be reaching out for this all the time for cut all sorts of different materials. There are a pair of snips as well, which it comes under the same category. So for cutting things, and these are good for sheet metal. I've cut up to 2 mil with this steel. Yeah, so they are quite. These are quite good. Yeah, and then you've got, last but not least, is one of these block things. You put your sandpaper and you put your sandpaper and you put this in. You put it around, and it goes on that. And for sanding, when you finish you use your orbital sander or whatever, your electric sander, I always go over it with the grain to give it a nice finish. You always should do that, because you'd really get a nice finish when you put your stain or varnish or whatever you want to use. So that's a handy thing to have. And that that's I think there's more than 10 over there, but you can sort of prioritize whichever one you think is more essential. So with that, I'll see you in the next video.